It is Herb Frierson in a moment or two, but first of all, I got to tell you, there's a lot of bull in the wireless business. We know that. We hear it. A lot of bull. C-Spire thinks you deserve a plan that's actually what it says it's going to be. Why is it when you call, because it sounds so attractive when you see it on TV, you hear it on radio, you read about it, and you call, and all of a sudden there's this little caveat. It makes us angry. You want the real deal, the best plan for 1 or 2 lines, period? Unlimited talk and text with 10 gigabits or 10 gigabytes of high-speed data, $45 per line with auto pay and paperless billing. $45 per line. You're not going to find anything, any small print or what happens after the third day of the full moon and all of that stuff. Without auto pay, it's just $50. And how's that for fine print? That's it. Most wireless companies love to show off their plan and their prices. It sounds great, just one problem. You would need 4 lines to actually get those prices. They don't tell you that. With the real deal plan from C-Spire, you get the best value for the number of lines you need on the faster than ever C-Spire network. That's why we call it no bull. That's the real deal. Switch today at cspire.com/real deal. It's easy enough. In the House, it is the Commissioner of Revenue, Herb Frierson. How are you doing, bud?
Doing good.
It's good
Bob.
to see you. Glad to have you in on a Friday. And how's the family? Everybody okay?
Everybody's doing good.
No problems?
No problems.
Any problems with the state legislature? Your former cohorts over there?
Well, they're rocking and rolling. They're moving along.
What do you think about the way this session is?
It's been strange.
It's got to be tough. You can speak freely to this because you're no longer in there. But what is the additional effort? That is not the right word. The additional stress when you have a kind of fragmented session like this.
Oh, I think that just trying to hold everything together. Mm-hmm. When you take these long breaks and come back and you got to find your starting point where they left off and take off again. And that is a little bit stressful. It probably helps the staff, though, that long break did. It gave them a good time to catch up and not be,
I never thought about that.
Not be in that hurry-up mode all the time. But it's getting real busy over there right now because they're getting very close to having a budget for next year.
Yeah. Well, is that nothing more than a placeholder?
What's that, the budget?
The budget, yeah.
No, I think they can write a realistic budget.
You think so?
I think so. And I mean, it's according to how they approach it. Mm-hmm. And if they're conservative enough with it, they're going to be okay.
What's your statement as far as the teacher pay raise, the additional teacher pay raise? That's not going to put any.
I don't know.
I don't know if we could
right now. Looking at the revenue and all, it's going to be difficult to do for them to do anything like that unless they make significant cuts in other areas and use the money in a different way.
You look at this every single day, of course, as the Commissioner of Revenue, and what's your reported to the people of the state of Mississippi on this 12th day of June?
Well, had we collected income tax on April 15th, the normal date, instead of collecting it in July, the next fiscal year, had we collected it on the normal date, we would be over $100 million ahead of estimate right now. But since we didn't, we're about $51 million behind the sign and die estimate. We would have been ahead of the revised estimate had we collected the income tax. Now, so this year we're not seeing the effects of the pandemic recession as strongly as we thought we were going to see them. We are seeing it, but it's nothing like what we thought it was going to be. We thought we were going to lose $200 million a month for the last quarter of the year, and we didn't. We only lost $24 million in May, and that caused us to be considerably more optimistic about finishing 2020 in a good position. Now, 2021 is a great mystery. It could be very bad. We don't know. We'll see as time goes by. I'm
a little baffled on this because how could that possibly be with so many businesses shutting down?
The economy was so
good
prior to it. Yeah, we were on a clip to have 5 to 6% growth.
Okay,
had it not been for the pandemic.
But the kind of warning system that you were talking about, 2021, unless we have another shutdown or something else, or there's the economic downturn.
Well, I think there'll be
in 2021 ought to be as good or better.
Well, I think it'll come back real strong and then it'll plateau. Mm-hmm. That's what most economists are saying, but it'll plateau at a much lower level than what we
were before.
Yeah, and then it'll start a gradual climb back up, and that's what you're hearing from the economists.
Well, and how many times have the economists been right?
Well, sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. And
well, but then you put those unknown figures in there. With somewhere down the line, we are being told yesterday, and I had the story in here somewhere, that there are people who are saying that we're going to have. Let's see if I can find that somewhere here. Senator, this is the senior White House advisor, Kevin somebody. Here we go.
That so far, economists are overstating the negative. And I think that we in the White House are optimistic that the Congressional Budget Office forecast for a really strong second half of the year is a good place to start. The plan is to have a Phase 4 deal. I think I was covered in the news just a few days ago of saying that there's a 100% chance the White House believes that there will be a Phase 4 deal where more help is on the way. We've built a bridge to July, really, with the existing legislation. And what we need to do now is watch the evolution of the disease, how it responds to opening up, and the growth of the economy and the return of people to work.
Yeah. Guy's name is Kevin Hassett. He is the senior advisor to the president.
I would say he was absolutely right on the month of May. Will he be right on the month of June in the next fiscal year? I don't know. I hope he is.
Well,
I think being optimistic is a good thing. It's got one time when I was coaching, everything was going wrong. It was bad. And Coach Triplett looked at the staff of young men and said, it's very important that we be positive right now. And I think that's the way the business community and professionals and government need to be positive right now.
How'd that game turn
out? We won the state championship that year.
There you go. I'm glad you didn't say we lost. It would have blown everything.
But, I mean, the year started out rough. We lost, like, the first two games of the year.
I got you. But if we do put in there Phase 4, he didn't leave much wiggle room when he said he's 100% positive. We do put in a Phase 4, whatever that happens to be. And somewhere down the line, if we can get to this, and if we don't get to it now, I got a feeling we're going to get to it in 2021, regardless of who the president is, a infrastructure bill.
We gotta.
So that's
have that.
Yeah. So somewhere down the line, that's going to happen. So so you're not as. What brought up some of the numbers there? Sales tax?
Sales tax right now is about $9.3 million ahead of the last year.
That is amazing.
Now, if you take a deep dig into the different business codes, I can't tell you what what businesses are doing strong, but I could tell you by code, and they're like big boxes, the ones that stayed open.
Yes.
They paid a tremendous amount of sales tax into the state of Mississippi.
So if you were looking for lumber or liquor,
Lowe's,
they
Lowe's
did well.
And Home Depot and the liquor store.
They were just packed.
And
I got a friend who's a manager of one, and he says it beat, even if you were on the coast in Katrina. They double that.
I believe that. And about the liquor sales, everybody gets excited about that. I don't, because I've read all the studies on you can't tax alcohol enough to cover the cost that it causes in society and negative things. Both liberals and conservative studies have said the same thing. Yeah. We have it because we know prohibition doesn't work.
I'll drink to that. Speaking of which.
But I don't get real excited about 25% increase in liquor sales. It makes me wonder what...
We will ask you more about liquor and other things when we get back. Commissioner Herb Frierson. The governor's coming in, 8:07.
No, sir. Go on.
But with the commissioner of state revenue, and again, those numbers are just outstanding. It gives us a little bit of hope, and if we can continue to do this, do we have any bearing on June right now? I know we're not even halfway through.
Well, we can look at the cash sheet every day, but it's too early.
Too early?
Yeah. Now, one thing that's going to happen in the next fiscal year, they're going to collect income tax twice in the same fiscal year, because it's been put off to July the 15th.
So that's going to screw your books up, isn't it?
It is what it is, and we can deal with it. Mm-hmm. they're going to get a considerable amount of one-time money. So what they got to be very careful how they use that one-time money. If they put it into reoccurring expenses, they'll create a huge cliff in 2022.
You're talking about the federal government.
The state.
The state.
The state.
Okay, not the federal government.
State
the
government,
fiscal year, our fiscal year.
Yeah, and so, I mean, if they put that into one-time expenditures, it's no big deal. If they put it into reoccurring expenditures, it creates a difficult situation in 2022.
Well, because you'll start looking at those and think, okay, this is going to happen next year, right?
It won't.
Next fiscal year, and it's not going to happen. It sounds like it's, even though the politicians know
I
causes
think
that.
these guys know it, and I don't think they'll make that mistake. You know, you could use a little bit of it on reoccurring, you know, but you can't go overboard with it.
We got some restaurants in this state that may not make it. I understand you told me there were quite a few nationwide.
We've
the forecasters
heard the forecast of 160,000 nationwide would go out of business.
We know we've already lost some, and and some of these were weak going into this, and they just could not survive.
That's one of the reasons why we're so cautious in giving an estimate on how much income tax will be collected on July the 15th, because there's so many businesses that don't have the money or have gone out of business.
Did our lottery and our sports betting? It's almost non-existent here. But those things that we did, those just they took a pretty good hit, did they not?
I don't know. I hadn't kept up with the lottery funds. DOR doesn't collect those. Those go straight to the Treasury.
Yes, I forget about that.
I get that information. Same
The
way
internet tax sales had to go up.
Yeah, let me look and see.
Because of everybody ordering things.
While they were day drinking?
Yeah, liquor and getting online. Liquor and online. So.
Yeah.
I do want to mention this, though. When we start talking about liquor, the state legislature and I was reading a bill yesterday, and what is this all about? I figure I'd ask you. If you don't know, then we got problems. Are they making a move there through your graces or whatever to pull the liquor division from the state tax commission?
On what bill were you talking about?
There's a bill that sets up a liquor commission or a liquor board.
We talked about setting up the warehouse like the lottery board, to where
explain that to us.
Okay, that would be a quasi-government private corporation with a CEO and some board members, and they would run the liquor warehouse. They would retain the revenues, some of the revenues generated there, to run the warehouse, expand the warehouse, and then the legislature doesn't have to vote on evil alcohol for us to get a warehouse that actually works.
Is this to make them get closer to purity, or is it an efficient?
It's an efficiency. You come out from under the personnel board, you come out from under procurement laws. You know,
what would it mirror? Is there another agency like that?
The lottery board.
Oh, the lottery. You just said
like
that.
The lottery
I'm sorry, the lottery board.
Exactly like the lottery setup. And it would be more efficient, it would be more productive, and it would cost less. And you would get the expansion and the upgrades that you need out there.
Those board members appointed by the governor, the lieutenant governor, et cetera?
Governor, I don't know. I haven't read that part of the bill. I would assume by the governor.
What would that mean to you? Would just
the commissioner of revenue would have one appointment to the board. You know, I'd probably either appoint myself or send the ABC chief or associate commissioner or somebody to the meeting, because we would still have enforcement and permitting at DOR, so you wouldn't want enforcement and the warehouse to get crossed up.
Well, if the board made a decision to expand, could you stop that, or would the board have the final decision?
They would have final decision on expansion of the warehouse and everything.
Above and beyond the legislature itself?
Yeah, legislature wouldn't have to vote on it, because they would be able to retain.
Well, they got to fund it.
They would retain a percentage of the revenue they generate.
I got you.
Just like the lottery does.
You think it'll go through?
They're going to study it in the off season, and maybe they'll come back and do it, because we had orders. The record was broken Sunday night. 81,000 cases of wine and whiskey were ordered in the state of Mississippi. Never has there been that many. We started the week off 4 days behind, because we can only ship about 20,000 a night. So we started out the week and we got customers out there wanting their product, and we're in an antiquated warehouse that can't keep up with this.
Is it time to take a look at that and reshift the whole thing, putting regional warehouses in, or letting it go directly to the Let it go directly to the
dealers. There's a bill over there on letting wine go directly from a producer to a permit holder. And we don't have any problem with that. And, these are policy decisions.
Well, then if you took wine out of the equation, how much, what percentage?
If you took wine out of the warehouse, there would be no need for expansion. It takes up 65% of the space.
It takes up 65%?
Yeah, because all that box wine.
So you'd be handling hard liquor only as far as the ABC is concerned.
If you could do that, if the legislature chose to do that, that'd be fine with
what
us.
Would they care about that as far as what's the overall feeling of most of the liquor stores out there?
I haven't heard from many of them. I think they were a little concerned about change because it's change.
They would get theirs now FedEx or something like that. Would it be more expensive or less expensive?
I don't know. I haven't explored that. You'd have to ask the people at the Capitol.
Who's got that bill going through?
I think
and is it still alive?
The Senate passed it yesterday.
Oh, they passed it yesterday?
Yeah. I think it's gone to conference.
So if that happens, it could.
I think the way it's currently worded, if a wine is not brokered in Mississippi, you could order it straight from a Napa Valley producer. There's a lot of wines that aren't brokered in Mississippi.
What do you mean brokered in Mississippi?
That means it's not that they don't sell to Mississippi ABC because of a sundry of different things.
So there are wines we can't get.
Yeah.
We go back to this when you and I were talking about that. At one point,
we'd have to ask for it. But if you go to Napa Valley, say when the pandemic's over, and you find a wine that you just absolutely love, and they say, well, we don't sell in Mississippi, and we can't ship to Mississippi. Well, you could tell them, well, we fixed that. If I go to my local liquor store and I order this wine through ABC, ABC will send the order to you, and you can ship it directly to the permit holder, and I could go in and pick it up.
Still can't deliver it at the door. You still got to deliver it to the liquor store.
They didn't put that in there. They didn't put home delivery in it. And like home delivery, that's a policy decision for the legislature. They just need to make sure they have a way to
track it.
Track it and train the delivery people on what a proper ID is.
Well, here's a crazy question. If you could order a mattress like that from Amazon from North Dakota, why couldn't you do the same thing and track it as far as a case of wine?
Well, it's a policy decision for the legislature, and the liquor stores are bitterly opposed to that.
Well, I can imagine that. There are no bills out there as far as, putting it in grocery stores?
There was one, but it died.
It died, so that's off the table for this year.
I think the people who wanted direct shipment and liquor and grocery store wine found out how influential liquor store owners are.
It's always an amazing time when we get you here. Can we talk moonshine when we come back in the final segment? If we get you out of here without the moonshine question.
Well, ain't much going on in that.
Well, you can make up some things.
All right.
Herb Frierson coming. All right, back with the final segment here with the Commissioner of not Agriculture, but Revenue. It is Herb Frierson.
He changed?
No, I changed it real quick. There are a couple of other things here which we were talking about moonshine. You think it's going to get worse again as far as moonshine is concerned?
Oh, it's an American
illegal
tradition. It'll never go away.
I had somebody on C-Spire said, I'm a member of a wine club. I'll not tell you who it was. Said, I have to drive to Memphis to pick it up at my dad's, which is always 2 bottles short. That's known as commission. Why can't they deliver it here? And you told me
that is when you go to out of state and bring it back in, you're officially a bootlegger.
And
by state law, not by the commissioner's decree, but by state law.
And there is a consequence of being a bootlegger.
Well, yeah, there is. But I think there's a bill in the legislature to remedy that, where they're talking about making possession of alcohol in any county in the state legal.
There is, and do you think that's got a pretty good chance?
I believe it's going to pass.
So what does that mean to dry counties?
That means that you'll be able to possess it. That means you'll be able to go to wet county, buy it, bring it to the dry county, and not be a bootlegger.
Could there be a possibility of what would this mean to restaurants in that area?
I think it would legalize a BYOB policy.
Really? So you could actually bring. They don't know where the liquor's coming from. It really doesn't matter if they have it personally on with them.
But if the owner allowed it, it could possibly happen.
Yeah. Because, I mean, it can't stay dry for very long because that would be senseless. You might as well go in and sell it if you got people bringing it into the county.
It's
crazy.
It's convoluted and it's hypocritical law, and I don't know if it'll ever be changed, but it is what it is.
Anything else you want to mention while we're wrapping this one up here?
We're working on. We did a cultural study at DOR. We got the idea from Indiana. Indiana did it. Indiana in government, number one place in Indiana to work is the Department of Revenue, and they did it through a cultural study. And we contracted Stennis Institute, and they did it. And we're in the process right now of evaluating our results. They were fairly good. There are areas we need to work on. But I'm gonna push this thing down to the lowest levels in the agency and tell those people to work on these things that we need to improve, and send the commissioner your idea on how we improve the things that we have room to improve in our culture. And our goal is to be the best place in Mississippi to work.
As far as the tax season itself, as far as how COVID may have played in here, anything that it disrupted? It significantly disrupted revenue, and it's going to.
I'm
talking about just the issuing refunds and things such as that.
No, not really.
Okay.
We didn't get behind during the period. We got behind on car titles. Yeah, we did get behind on that, and we're trying to catch up now.
Did you guys try any work at home, and how did that work out?
From this point forward, we will have an additional 100 people working from home. Now, all our revenue officers and our auditors had always worked from home, but now we've added an additional 100 people. That's I'm excited about that, and we're going to be if they were doing their work, and in a lot of cases their productivity went up.
We see that all the time. The productivity does go because. For some reason, and the negative part of that is some people are saying, I found myself working harder and longer when I work at home because you can never get away from it.
Yeah, I mean, when you work in an office setting, you get up and you go visit your friend down the hall or in the cubicle next to you or whatever, and then you got office politics and office gossip and all these distractions from work. And when you're working at home, you don't have all that.
How many people in that agency?
We have 120 less than when I was confirmed by the Senate.
Because
retiring, automation.
Because of automation?
Yeah, but we got two. We probably have the two most sophisticated computer systems in state government.
The likelihood of all of these open pens out there are just not likely that they're going to be filled anytime soon.
The only pens that we would like to fill that aren't filled are the 32 vacant auditors. And the legislature doesn't seem to be excited about doing that.
It's always a pleasure. How's Poplarville doing?
Oh man, thanks.
How's your garden? How's your garden look?
The garden is unbelievable. The hurricane or the tropical storm, whatever it was, it blew all the corn down. But other than that, we're okay.
It's hard to make any liquor if you don't have any corn.
Well, that's not my goal.
Herb Frierson, always good to see you, my friend.
All right, thank you, Paul.
Governor Tate Reeves.